and welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm your host, Paul DiRienzo, and we got another great show in store. Joining us is the great Elizabeth Ruf-Maldonado, who is an actress and a producer and a dancer and a community activist. Really, I know you mostly as a community activist, to be honest with you, and a broadcaster as well. So welcome. Glad to have you on finally. Let Them Talk.
Finally, yeah. I mean, I've known you for a while, Paul.
Right.
And it's really fun to be here.
Yes, well, welcome to the show. We have a lot of fun here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Especially when we talk about the neighborhood and what you're doing, and is very interesting. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on and when it's happening, and give us the details.
Okay, I'm working on an interactive, immersive performance piece that is conceived and designed and directed by Kevin Cunningham, who is the artistic director, I guess you'd say, of Three-Legged Dog. I believe the full name is the Art and Technology Center. I believe it began as a media and media center. Definitely is a theater piece, and it is written by Charles Mee, who's one of our country's great living playwrights, and we've had the privilege of being able to work with him. He's been on the set and involved in the whole process in devising how the performance text is coming together, and really Kevin Cunningham has been sculpting the words into, I guess the way I would describe it is a modern mashup of conversations and impressions and images that is beautiful poetry that's coming from Charles Mee and interacting with media images, and of course the actors who bring the central visceral quality to the play, because a lot of them are cabaret performers, burlesque performers, experienced actors, movers, singers. So we have musicians, and it's just a really special piece. It's a gift to be able to work on it. Yeah, it really is.
Quite a production. Where is it happening?
It's happening at Three-Legged Dog, and Three-Legged Dog is located at 80 Greenwich Street. So it's just like a block north of Battery Park. So right by the lower end of Manhattan.
Right, not Greenwich Avenue, which goes through the village, but Greenwich Street, which runs north-south, and so it's all the way at that end.
It's all the way at the end,
and the south end.
The best subway is the R or the 1 train to Rector Street.
Rector Street.
So it's right there, and it's from what I can have learned, it's one of the first places and one of the central places to grow up in the reconstruction of that area after the Twin Towers came down, and so it's central.
Location.
It has it has historical and a community component and an affective component that's really important to keeping the arts alive and keeping that neighborhood vibrant.
So,
yeah.
I hope so, because other than that, they have a lot of
Wall Street.
Wall Street, pretty sterile. Occupy Wall Street. All right, so great. So Elizabeth Ruf-Maldonado, thanks for joining us. We're going to play. We have a slideshow, and maybe that gives some, a few different photographs of the performance and of the folks following yourself. So maybe we can play the slideshow, and then we'll continue talking as it plays. And so, what are we watching here?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, this is a great one to start with, because this gives people a view of the interactive quality of this performance. Okay, it's immersive. So you see some people are sitting at cafe tables. The people who are at the tables with black cloths are audience members, and the people and they're interacting with the actors. So you see a lot of the and just diversity of the performers, and they're all around the audience, even talking to audience members. So serving drinks, we ask for tips, of course, but that helps us keep the liquids flowing night after night. So
I see. That's interesting. Okay, great.
So it's basically drink for tips.
Yeah, let's see if we can get it onto the slide. Maybe it'll continue on to the next picture by itself.
Okay.
There we go. Yes.
All right. This is a central couple in the play. The play is called Not Knowing. I didn't even say the name of it. It's called Not Knowing, and the I'm not exactly sure where the title came from, but this is a central couple, and we follow their relationship through the play. But it's not like a linear soap opera. In fact, it's self-consciously riffing on that, because that's part of our knowledge. But this couple meets, they fall in love, and they encounter all these strange characters and creatures like we do. It's life is sometimes stranger than fiction, but our play is pretty weird, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, very visceral. Well, here's the usual. Oh my gosh, that went so fast. I don't know if we can go back to that, but. And here's another. Oh, hey, wonderful. So you see, this is a lineup. I would be sitting just to the left on that side of the screen, because I play a kind of otherworldly go-between between the beyond and the human world, and so I'm kind of watching. This is kind of the start of a sensual bit of an orgy between a lot of the colorful characters in the play, and I'm just kind of watching, not really presiding, but kind of longing and watching them.
Longing. Let's go to the next picture.
Okay.
Next one.
Okay, this is our poster, of course, and this is a lovely E-Cat. She's a performer, a contortionist, and she is acting in this show, and she's hilarious. She has a lot of really funny lines, and her character is really the closest to the audience, because she's bringing people their drinks and keeping them entertained. And then she does some of her, art, which is her body art of contortion work. And
so it says here that the opening already occurred on the 14th, but it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then Sunday matinee at 5 p.m., right?
Right, and those start times, I have to say, I hope the audience will come a half an hour early, because the pre-show is brilliant. We have jazz musicians singing, people dancing. You can dance with some of the performers. You can start drinking, whatever it is you drink. So it's a very fun. It's a lounge setting, as you saw. So it's really fun to get there early and kind of get the best seat. You can ask people, where should we sit? It depends on what you want to see. Everybody gets a different show. Okay, this is E-Cat again with Matt Roper, and he's a wonderful actor. And you see Matteo and Cassandra kind of behind them, and then the rest are audience members.
Cool. Yeah. Let's move on. Next.
Oh, this is Jenny Lee Mitchell. I have to mention her with great love and admiration, because she is the one who turned me on to the piece and asked me to come down and see if it was a good fit, and it turned out it was, so I'm really indebted to her. But Jenny and I go way back. We did a lot of performance art in the 1980s and music videos with Arto Lindsay, for example, who's a wonderful American-Brazilian music innovator, and you can probably Google some of his stuff and find out what the crazy. You think this stuff is crazy, but we're really, she's a wonderful actor, musician, performer, artist. She's an all-around great person.
I'm letting you do this. This is great. Right, next picture. Let's go to the next one. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. There's me with my main co-star. The relationship between the characters, it's up to the audience to decide, so I don't want to say too much. I hope you come and see the show. But definitely we're a couple that seems to have had some time together, and it's unclear what happened, between us, but we're kind of coming in and out of the spirit world and the tangible world, and you see the other actors behind doing their cabaret and cafe activities.
There we go.
Here we are again. I included this picture because I didn't have a picture of the I woman, but that's one of her insignias, and she's a cabaret performer, and so we're picking up on one of her insignias, that she has a character who appears in a hologram, actually.
A hologram?
Yes, we have hologram. People walking out of holograms. This is Kevin's art and his brilliance to be able to put the actors and the technology together and really create an impulsive relationship that it's not cold, it's not passive technology, it's interactive. So
cool. All right, let's go to the next one.
Here we have We have Phoebe and Cassandra, and I won't give away too much, but you see that Cassandra has some, looks like blood on her chest, and Phoebe is swallowed. She's about to swallow that sword.
Yeah,
So,
sword
yeah, this is a sword swallowing. But it's, you know, to whoever hears this broadcast can, I guess, get my impression of it, because this is all juxtaposed with a very visceral monologue by a character who's talking about the inhumanity of really capitalism and how people how that's really, and lack of love, and this is the source of a lot of the evils of I mean, for me, I'm interpreting capitalism, but you know, he's saying lack of love, which is, you know, when it's all about monetary gain, you know, I kind of see that.
Great.
So then he's talking about that, and then she's swallowing swords, and you kind of think, wow, you know, this is making me have an intense feeling about these words.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay, and this is the character. Well, the actor is Roger, and the character is Bob, and this is just the closing of the play. I mean, that's all I need to say. I don't really
You have
need
to come
say.
see it to know why, what's
yeah,
going on
yeah.
here, right?
What the connection is between our two characters.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Thank you.
Okay, this is another scene with Glenn Eroy and
It's a very
myself
colorful
and
play.
Matt Roper, and there's, you know, you see a lot of projections that kind of set the scene, but you know, it's not like, oh, here we are in the specific cafe. It's kind of like imaginary cafes, and then Matt's walking by. Why does he have a skeleton on his back? You know, that's up to the audience to decide. But if you come and see the show, it does link up in another hologram in a really interesting way.
All right.
And Cassandra's involved. I won't say any more.
All right, come see the play and find out how these all connect to each other next.
Okay, here we have
back to
Erickson and Lucille again, wonderful
I think we might
actors.
be back to the beginning. Are we back to the beginning, or is that it? Yeah, we're back to the beginning. Thank you very much for that. That was fascinating. So where can people see the show? Let's talk again about where it's happening.
It's happening at Three-Legged Dog.
And it's called Not Knowing.
Yes, it's called Not Knowing. It's conceived and directed by Kevin Cunningham. It's with words by Charles Mee. And the actors, I mentioned them by their names, their first names, I guess.
So it's Wednesday, Thursday?
Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Doors open at 7:30.
Except for Sunday.
And Sunday, the doors open at 4:30, so don't come at 7:30 on Sunday or you will have missed it.
Right, you'll have missed it. And then this is located at Three-Legged Dog, which is 80 Greenwich Street.
80
right?
Greenwich Street, downtown Manhattan.
Downtown Manhattan, down there by.
And it's closing on Sundays, so if you want to arrange tickets, you can actually, if you look on BroadwayWorld.com and you search for Not Knowing, you can find a blurb, a little piece on the show, and you can see more pictures, and you can connect with the ticket link. And if you go to 3ldnyc.org, you can find out more about the center and look for Not Knowing. It's in the What's Happening page, and you can find out a lot more.
All right, great.
And the tickets are affordable. I'm not going to say the price, but you know, there are ways. There are ways. I think there's a discount code listed somewhere
within our purview of community-based artistic expression.
Most definitely, and you won't be sorry. You know, it's definitely worth every penny.
How did you get involved in this? You were talking about it a little bit before.
Oh yes, well.
First, your background. I mean, you are what do you primarily? How do you think of yourself primarily in the arts?
In the arts, I think of myself as a theater maker. I do work in film, but it's kind of a gift for me to work in this project because I love theater and I like doing projects that you don't have to plug in into any outlets. You know? So that's the way I roll, and so this is really fun for me, you know, to let somebody else do all of that. And I should mention I know it's a little off topic from what you just asked me, but you know, as we're talking about the tech, you know, we have Magnus and Marcelo and Brian and Andrew and Lex is at the board, and these are all like Andy.
Doing
we
the
have
electronics.
Felicia, who's a dramaturge. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody's name, but if I did, I love you, and I
that's
didn't want to.
okay.
But what I'm saying is like these are award-winning.
Sure.
Technology people, including Grammys and all kinds of awards. So we have a wonderful sound and visual team that are an integral part of it, and they are visible on the stage.
So how were you convinced into doing this?
How was I convinced? Well, I'm a full-time professor as well as being a theater artist, and I'm really committed to education. I also write, and I have a doctorate in theater from Columbia, so I've kind of gone all the way with theater. I did my BFA in drama, so my undergrad is in drama, and my training is everything from studying, classical theater in London, and also studying experimental theater in New York. And I got my start in experimental theater working with Richard Schechner, who's kind of the founder of performance studies, and I mean, he is the founder of that area. So my inclination is to use good acting chops and training to create new innovative works, and so this brings it all together. But it's so rare that you get to do something like this. So how did I get involved? I mean, I studied experimental theater wing at NYU in my undergrad days, and had a chance to work with all of this innovative, crazy stuff in the 80s that I just really love, and I try to mix it in. But then projects like this don't really come around, and experimental theater changes. Everything changes.
So you decided to take a risk and take a leap into the.
Well, I got Jenny called me up, and we reconnected a few years ago. She'd been living in Europe, and she called me up, and she said that she's working this project, but she's also on the ground producing it. So she put my name forward, and I came in, and it was a good fit, and that's how I got involved. So
I see. So how did you? How long? How long did this start? What was the beginning? How long ago was the first day?
Okay, actually, for our cast, it happened pretty fast. Well, for me, it happened really fast because we started right in the middle of August, and then within a month, we were previewing. So that happened really fast.
Sure.
But there are other people who've been working on this with Charles Mee and with Kevin Cunningham in workshops. And so the couple who you saw in one of the photographs, beautiful couple, were already almost off book, because they had already worked on the roles and had helped to develop. Off book means that they have a lot of lines, but they knew them by heart.
So this is considered off Broadway, right? Or is it in that realm? I know.
I think it's considered an art installation.
Right. Okay. Right.
Because
the size of the room. I know that kind of stuff. Right. I had to tell people that when I was a tour guide, so I had to know.
It really blurs the boundaries between theater and performance and media. So I think we'd have to call it a multi-arts installation, immersive, interactive piece.
What's what's it about? I mean, what's underneath it? Is there a message to this at all, or is it a panoply of the senses type of thing?
Well, for me, actually, you're kind of asking the right person, because I have these.
Person, right?
That's my character in the play. I guess if there is a message, I mean, I would say like if there's a message, it's like that nothing really has a message except what you make of it, So I don't know if I'm doing a disservice to that you don't have to preconceive what something is about, but that. And I get so emotional in play because the poetry is so beautiful, but it's kind of like these surprising, random, very visceral, intangible objects that my character is talking about, that come from the past, and the playwright is he's lived for many decades. I don't, anyone who knows Charles Mee knows that he's been on the planet for a beautifully long time, and he has a lot of tangible experiences. So I get to talk about those. So I would say that life is surprising and astonishing. I mean, that's one of the lines in the beginning of the play, that that just be open to observing life and being part of life and participating in it, and you will find love or not, or you will enjoy it or not, but you're gonna have a deep experience of life.
Okay,
so
that's it. So that's the message. Great.
I don't know. I've never thought of putting it in words, so I hope that was
well.
okay.
Yeah, I thought you did very well.
Thank you.
Great. So I don't know. I don't want to give too much away about the actual play. People should come and see it. Of course, it's going to be at 80 Greenwich Street.
Yes.
In Lower Manhattan, and it's
Through
Wednesday,
Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Be there 7:30 p.m. It starts at 8, and then on
It starts at
Sunday.
7:30.
Starts when?
The doors open at 7:30, and
7:30, right?
and you're already like in it.
Yeah.
You know.
So okay, really,
Yeah.
what's it like when you walk in? What to experience?
Okay, well, you walk in from Greenwich Street, and you see a lot of construction going on, because I don't know, that area is going to be under construction for a long time. But that's kind of
It's like my neighborhood.
what what the play is also about. Everything changes. So you walk in, and it's a very technological, beautiful. It looks kind of like 2001: Space Odyssey. You're walking down this white hallway with strange lights on the sides, and then you walk into a studio, and you are surrounded by entertainers and people who are,
Is this where
helping
you serve
you to
the
your
drinks?
seat, and you take a table if you sit at a table. There's also benches all around the wall. I mean, the capacity of the room is, I think, a couple hundred people, but or probably for the play, for the purposes of the play, it's probably about 70 people. So it's not a large audience, but it definitely, so you experience a lounge kind of setting, and
So people are going around serving drinks, you said?
yeah, serving
Like a bar,
drinks,
there's an open bar.
dancing, singing. There's
And
improvising.
you pay for the drinks like you would
No,
anywhere else?
No, you tip if
I
you
see.
want.
I see.
It's kind of like a little paradise. Go in and be
Right.
entertained and enjoy yourself.
Right, Rick's Cafe Americano. That
Yeah.
type of thing, right? All right, great, wonderful.
Yeah.
I love that. So, okay, good. And then at some point, do people take seats, or they stay where they are, and then the play happens around them?
Yeah, they stay at their cafe tables with their friends, or they can actually sometimes, because it is interactive and everybody's getting a different show, there are certain activities that go on that, because of where certain people are sitting, they're not going to be able to see the real oomph of it. So ECAT, I've seen her take people by the hand and say, "Come out, stand," and she has people stand in the performance space so they can get a better view of the spectacle. It's like whatever's in the room. I mean, I am quoting Kevin, I may be paraphrasing, but if it's in the room, it's fair game. You can interact with it, whatever is going on.
So it's happening all around you.
If somebody spilled their wine, and it was by me, and even though I'm in the other world or wherever I am, I could get a towel and mop it up, because I'm a visceral person as well, and I could reassure them. I could talk to them. Don't worry,
It's not an
it
unusual
can be.
play. You're right. This
it
way
is,
it's
yeah.
more like
it's like whatever
a
is there.
performance, right? A performance meets a play, right?
Yeah, but
Amazing.
because the play is
The play is a
definitely
thing.
it's got legs. It's got it's got a lot going on, and the relationship is really to see the course of the relationship. I mean, it's something for everybody. You'll see yourself in the play.
Right, great.
And your memories.
Wow, you seem really moved by this. This is really taking a big part of your life. You really.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because I teach at Boricua College, and so I live in Manhattan. I teach in Brooklyn, so I ride my bike over the Williamsburg Bridge, and I teach, and we do individualized instruction. So I'm talking all day long for an hour each with different students, and then I get on my bike and I get to the theater and just switch gears or not. I mean, all of that flows
Energy,
in.
right, flows into actually performing.
And even the students came
people.
to the play, and
oh really? Oh great!
They
I'm
were
glad they came to talk.
in the lounge, and they enjoyed it. So
Right,
Yeah.
right, and see
Yeah.
their professor actually doing the thing, right? That she's
Yeah.
teaching, right?
Yeah.
Because you give when they say those who don't teach, right? And no, you do and you teach, which is amazing.
Yeah, well,
You do
teaching
both.
is doing,
Right.
and everything is doing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's what you learn from the play.
Action. I mean, that's all. That's how we get around.
Right,
Like
right. It
you're
sounds like
always
Dada.
making choices, and you're always
Mm-hmm.
doing something every moment. You know.
It sounds like, am I right in saying it sounds like sort of Dada-esque, like what they used to do in the 20s in Germany and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, you can't get away from history. So anything that happened before, is
But you're
like
trying to do something
pulling
totally
it right
different.
up through,
Yeah.
But actually, a lot of the cabaret performers do channel an older aesthetic because the burlesque has such a great history. So you're going to see a very retro-looking
Sure.
style in some of the, and then of course it's completely modern.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, it takes you back and forth through time. Very good.
Kind
Time
of,
traveler,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Wow. So that's really exciting. So, what are you working on next,
Well,
Elizabeth Ruf-Maldonado?
next, once you put it out there, then you have to do it. So I did a show, I think you saw it a few years back, called The Iron Heel, and it was a dance operetta.
Sure.
I did in 2009, 2010 at Theater for the New City. And Theater for the New City helps you launch work and kind of workshop it. So I feel like I want to come back to that. I just got a ballerina out of the house. I mean,
right,
Paul and
your
I have known
daughter.
each other for a long
Right.
time. So,
Yes.
I've been kind of doing what I can all along, but I have a band called the Head Peddlers, and with
Where do they play next?
Carl Bateman is the other guitarist vocalist, and we write a lot of songs. So I just wrote a song about kind of a Rip Van Winkle theme about 20 years after raising this kid, and then suddenly
You're
my
out
life.
in the world.
But another thing I want to mention, so there's the Jack London piece, but then also Gene Ruffini, who is a writer I collaborated with at Theater for the New City, and he has just died, and it is really devastating, but I want to revive some of the works that I did with him, Color and Truce, and also to if his family's watching, I just found out about all of this, so I want to see if there's any scripts that I can work on of his, but of course I have all kinds of performances of my own, and you'll just have to
like
keep
a
in
busy
touch.
time.
Yeah,
Well, we don't have enough time. We only have half a minute to talk about it, but let's tell people where it's going to be at. It's going to be
It's Not Knowing at the Three-Legged Dog performance space, which is at 80 Greenwich Street in Lower Manhattan.
Right.
And the website is 3ldnyc.org.
3LD.
nyc.org.
Oh, there you go. Okay, and we'll see you next
Closing
week.
Sunday, the 30th.
Oh, you better get to it.
Yes,
Right?
don't
Wednesday.
miss it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's